The American dream is a giant scam. So people think that everybody in America is a millionaire and billionaire, and they're not. You have families that are in charge of the world, right? So you have families that rule America, and you have families that rule the world. And you also, unless you're born into wealth, there is a high likelihood that you will never get any money throughout life, any substantial money. Let me explain that for a second. So let's say you are in middle class. Typically, social mobility in the United States, it's not a socially mobile country. What happens is, for example, how do you start a business? You have to have money, honey. You have to have money, honey. Right? Yeah? Where's the money coming from, honey? Huh? Where's the money coming from, honey? Nowhere. Americans like to say, this is the land of the free, home of the brave. It's not. I'll tell you why. First of all, in terms of the war, any kind of war, it's a rich man's war, poor man's blood. Show me one Rockefeller or one Rothschild that has gone to war, that has signed up to be a soldier. Show me one. Show me one. I want to see them. List off the names. They don't go to war. It's rich man's war, poor man's blood. You've got people in low classes, low socioeconomic classes, and middle classes that are going to war and fighting for a country. You're not going to see the rich people fighting in a war, right? Have you noticed that ever? Huh? And look at the names too. From what culture are they from? What ethnicity? What race? Look at the names. A lot of soldiers come from ghettos in America, because they're just trying to escape the hellhole in which they grew up in. You know what I mean? So that's a scam, right? Another thing that's a scam: venture capitalists, investors, accelerators for businesses. A lot of that is just a giant scam. They're actually, I've had a personal experience. They're trying to scam a business owner out of money, because you apply for them. They want to see, they want to get a giant cut of the equity, and never do anything to help you actually improve your business. They will literally just sit back, watch you do the work, and never help in any sort of way, shape, or form. Another thing I'd like to add: venture capital funds, venture capital firms, a lot of them are run by rich families. So what those rich families do, they make a venture capital firm, and then they give the money. They say, anybody can apply. That's a scam. So the people that can apply are people that are part of their family. You get what I mean? So the family becomes stronger and bigger and wealthier. They're not going to give money over to you. Women get 2.2% of all venture capital. So if you're a woman, honestly, I got to tell you something. I don't bother making a business, honestly, and for the most part, because that has been my personal experience. I've contacted investors and venture capitalists, and they will torture you. I've been called bossy multiple times, just based off of my pitch deck. They were like, "You're too bossy. You're too demanding. You think you're all that." I've literally had these kinds of comments from venture capitalists and investors. So I've lost respect, all respect, in that regard. America is a scam. The scholarship system is designed in a way, if you're lucky, if you get any kind of scholarship. Most school counselors are not going to help you. Most school counselors, unless you belong to a wealthy school district, they're most likely not going to help you get any sort of scholarship. You will get, if you get scholarships and grants, then the university will increase the amount of loans that you have and decrease the grants that you receive. So you cannot win, okay? Let's say you win a scholarship of like $100,000. They're not going to give you any grant money. So basically you end up in a position where you get $0 in grant money. So you busted your ass to get to that money. There are people that don't bust their ass and they get grants, and they don't have to apply for scholarships at all. And there are also people, I've seen people based on race, that basically end up in a situation where their school counselor was like, yeah, I'm just going to eliminate your entire loan because of race. Because they pulled the race card and the school was afraid of, any sort of lawsuit. And they were just like, I'm from blah, 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 this race. I'm not going to list off the race because I'm sure people are going to come at me for this. but they'll say, I'm this race. My people aren't getting, scholarships and, funding and that, blah, blah, blah. So, either cut off my loan or I'm going to report the school. So the school just cuts off the entire loan, so they graduate debt-free. I've seen that kind of shit happen. America, the American dream is a scam. Because when you see actors, that they are the creme de la creme. Like, they are A-listers. Most actors never make it to A-list level, okay? So working actors at most maybe make $50,000 a year, at most. What's the difference between that and a regular job? Why would you even want to work as an actor and bust your ass when you could work a regular job? Flipping burgers, or, I don't know, working as a secretary and not doing anything all day. You get what I mean? So there are a lot of things in America that are a complete scam that people really don't want to hear, And then they'll say, well, if you don't like America so much, go back to your country. Why don't you go back to your country, bitch? Why don't you go back to your country? You're an immigrant too. Your ancestors are immigrants. The only people in America that are true Americans, like in terms of that, are Native Americans. And there was a genocide committed against them by settlers and people that were coming in. So get over yourself. America is not the golden dream that people think it is. There are so homeless people everywhere. You go to Hollywood, you go to San Francisco, there are homeless people on the street, falling asleep on the street. They have tents on the street. So don't you dare sit there and tell me America's the greatest country in the world. And don't you dare sit there and tell me to go back to my country. I don't respect you if you're telling me that. Does that make sense? If you don't show me respect, I don't show you respect. Have I made myself clear? Excellent.